Alrighty, so back on the GC8 here, and today I'm going to get some more of the stuff out of the engine bay. Not sure if I'm going to remove the dash, but if I have to, I will. But at least make this all more accessible to clean and then to get ready to paint. So some of the progress, I got everything out of the dash that I needed to. I'm gonna leave that main harness in and just cover it up on the other side when I go to do the engine bay paint, and that should be fine. Yeah, same with the bay, everything except one brake line there. And those two harnesses coming through. All I'm going to do with them is just push the grommet back inside and then just tape those. It'll be fine. The wheel and the columns out. It had a pretty cool vintage turbo timer. So this is a FET. They're pretty cool because they just plug direct into the steering rack for accessory run, etc. And then they're super simple to use. You just click it to select your time and that's it. But yeah, no sketchy wiring. Originally I was going to remove that, but it's too cool to remove, so I'm going to leave it and just put it in a nicer spot inside the car. Originally it was just taped right here, but it'll actually go really nice in that little pocket there inside. And then the car, as far as gauges, it had this sweet vintage Blitz gauge. It's in bar, which we don't commonly use here. It still worked. I have new gauges for this car. I was going to do air, fuel, oil pressure, and boost, but I was putting them where the pocket used to be in the center console, so to have a single DIN stereo and then a little pocket for stuff. So the single DIN stereo will go back in, it's like the original head unit, and then it's just a little plate that holds 3 52mm gauges. They're all black face and also a black bezel to hold them, so it kind of keeps them, you know, going with the theme of, for the most part, stock. But those are just really nice items to monitor, and I don't want to neglect oil pressure, air, fuel, or you know, boost and vacuum. And something cool, while I'm working on a JDM Legend here, I've got this JDM Turbo Forester in. It's pretty sweet, you know, typical cool JDM body kit, cool dude grill. It is a turbo timer too. It's in for head gaskets, but I just wonder, you know, if maybe these two dudes in Japan were friends at one point and here they are on the other side of the world, back in the same shop, getting work. Pretty radical. Alrighty, so I've been starting to get into the engine bay here. So I removed the battery tray and I'm just waiting for a 90-degree drill to get these last couple spot welds there that I can't get to, because I got to get this bracket off too, or this piece, to sandblast underneath. Because what happened with this car was it at one point the battery leaked, so that does severe corrosion on the metal. I'll show you the battery tray here. So there's the tray. It was like actually fully starting to decay. So this is probably the most rusty part on the car. I'm not gonna put that back in because I'm not gonna use a standard size battery. I'm gonna use one of the small Odyssey batteries. So when I go to mount it, it's gonna be sitting this way, and I'm likely gonna weld some nuts on the other side of the metal. And then I'm gonna have long bolts going in with well, it'll probably be, you know, nut here and here. Then it'll be long bolts with the bracket holding the battery down, which will kind of clean it up a little bit, because there's no need for the tray if I'm using a smaller battery that doesn't even fit on it. Same with all these little spot weld marks from where I had to drill to remove the tray. I'm gonna smooth those all out, but went through most of the engine bay today, and you know, all except for this corner yet, and started off with the wire wheel just to kind of see what I got. It's all pretty clean. There's still some nooks and crannies and stuff that I want to get paint off of, or at least broken down a bit, so I've got a good stick for my epoxy sealer that I'm going to do with the sandblaster. So I'm making good gains. I've still got the underside of here and the wheel well on both sides, and then just the underside of the frame rail to do as well, which again, I'll, you know, hack away at it with the wire wheel, and then finish up stuff I can't get to with the sandblaster. Alrighty, so I ended up randomly stumbling across an appropriate short block for the Type RA build. So this one is a closed deck, and it wasn't too late for me to swap out my short block before getting assembled. So I'm going to break this one down so I can bring the short block to them. So the deal with this one is it has version 8.207 heads. It does have some ARP studs in it, which is nice. Nice fresh set of coil packs, which is a bonus for sure. These engines are incredibly hard to find, and it was a total fluke that I got it. So what happened was a friend was heading to the importers in Montreal to pick up some stuff, and he asked me if I needed anything, and I said no, I'm good. I actually called that importers a week earlier to see if they had one of these engines. So I mentioned that to him, and I'm like, no, they don't have what I need. And he's like, oh, there was one posted yesterday for sale on Kijiji. I'm like, you don't say. So I messaged the dude. I ended up there the next day, and to my surprise, when I show up, he's like, oh, Jesse, how are you? I ended up knowing the guy. I've known him for quite a while. Super nice guy. we go. Moment of truth. Look at that. Beautiful. And I'll get a light, and there's his low compression there. Boom. Poor little thing. I wonder even where that piece went. Let's check the back of the cylinder head here. Wow. Interesting. Yeah, there's no evidence of the missing piece, so I don't know. Alright, so the fender well is all cleaned up. So I'm gonna work in smaller sections to not get overwhelmed by a flash rust on the bare metal. And I'm gonna start doing the 2K epoxy primer as I get stuff cleaned down to bare metal. Hey, we got some more stuff scuffed down, ready for the primer. So, all up in there, I had to do some top-ups on my sandblasting because some flash rust that developed, and I'm ready to spray. Alrighty, so we got another section primed up in the epoxy primer. Super hard to like get up in there and stuff. Super hard. I'll show you what gun I'm using. It's like a little tiny gun that definitely helps get in these spots. But I don't know what else would make this easier other than a rotisserie. But a luxury I don't currently have. So yeah, this is the little gun. So it is quite tiny. We are into the next section here. So I've had to clean up some of the flash rust and wipe it all down. So pan out here. So I'm going from that rail to the start of the transmission tunnel. And it should be pretty awesome. Alrighty, so we got the next section all sealed up in the epoxy primer sealer. Looks super sweet. This section was definitely a little easier to spray compared to like up in there and stuff. So I guess the next bit is I have some more prep. For the most part, like obviously the underbody's done. Some spots where I had to readjust the hoist, so I've still got to do that. So I've moved the foot out of the way. And then I still have these little nooks and crannies to sandblast, and then it's all, you know, dented there. But I want to sandblast it before I pull that down with the slide hammer, because I don't want to lock the rust in there. Same with there, inside there, etc. And then I'll be able to spray the floor, which will be some nice progress. I might do, you know, one side, then the other side to keep the workload minimal. But first I got some prep work, and then I can pull the rest of these pinch welds down once I get the sandblaster in there and get it sealed up. Alrighty fellas, we're back. So I got I bought a bunch of the bottom of the inner rockers done. I had to get all the wax off so that I could stick primer to it, but turning out good. And another section underneath all done. So still probably drying, but looks sweet. Some more progress. So I got the other side of the floor pan done, looking sweet. So yeah, getting there. And then same with the other inner rocker, all done and de-waxed. So the next is I still got a bit to clean in this wheel well. For the most part, the rest of the front end engine bay is all prepped and scuffed. And I'm not sure if I touched on this. This is the original exhaust manifold off the EJ20G. So it is very unique compared to you know, the common ones you'll see. You can see it's significantly larger, has individual runners going through it. It's supposed to make it a little bit more efficient by lengthening the runners, somewhat more similar to an equal length, so you can see how those ones even twist around. So these have been all stripped down and ceramic coated, and then the only thing I changed in these was I did utilize that one there, a aftermarket up pipe. So that's the stock mid pipe as well. Here's the cylinder heads back from the machine shop. They look like brand new, so they've all been cleaned, serviced, new valve seals. And they'll end up getting the aluminum half moons in the back, and then obviously new cam seals, but yeah, they look really good. Super good. Really excited. I really do enjoy these valve covers. And then here we have the short block that I pulled out of the Type RA. That was the open deck, and I began my quest for the closed deck. So the closed deck has been completely rebuilt by our friends over at Barn Built Canada. They did a fantastic job. So it has new bearings. I think they had to micro polish the crank. It has updated modern STI rods, which are significantly larger than the stock rods that would have been in these. And then it has some forged pistons in there. So yeah, really excited. Now I've got everything I need to put my motor back together, which will be in a later video. Okay, we're back with some progress here. So we got everything epoxy sealed and cleaned up. So back to the battery tray area. I shaved off a little bracket there because I'm going to be using a small gel battery. So I'm actually waiting for a battery tray to come to mount it there, and that will hold the battery. And I think originally the bracket I cut off here held a horn, which will be easy to deal with. Other than that, it turned out really good. And yeah, this would be the end of this video. From here, I'm going to clean up the interior, and then I'm going to get into the trunk.